You know, when your hair feels softer after wash day, but then the ends are always the first part to give up? They start looking a little dry, a little frizzy, maybe not terrible, but not as soft and cared for as the rest of your hair. And that matters because the ends are the oldest part of our hair. If they keep drying out between wash days, they can start looking tired long before we're actually ready for a trim. I literally just got a haircut last week, so my ends are in really great shape right now. But today is wash day. So in this video, I'm making a DIY cholesterol hair cream for soft ends, a thick, rich leave-in conditioning cream designed for a tiny amount use where the hair needs that extra help. The goal is not to coat our whole head in a heavy cream. The goal is to give the ends a little more cushion, a little more richness and softness that actually stays. Before we get into the teaching part of this, I'm going to show you guys the recipe in the video as I'm making it. But if you want the full written formula and procedure to work from at your own bench, that's available over on Patreon, along with a larger formula library. Patreon members get access to over 150 formulas with tier-based access to intermediate and advanced formulas, plus spreadsheets, formulation guides, monthly deep dive blog posts, Fact or Fiction Fridays, monthly giveaways, and coupon codes. I also have specialty tiers. The saponification station and the mold of the month are physical product tiers, so you're going to receive something from me each month. And the creation station help desk is where you can get one-on-one formulation help, development support, troubleshooting, analysis, and tailored feedback. Those specialty tiers also include access to both the intermediate and the advanced formula levels. The Patreon link is down below. Now, let's talk about why the ends of our hair need something richer than the rest of our routine. The thing that makes end care tricky is that the ends are not behaving exactly like the hair near your scalp. That newer hair closer to the roots has not been through as much yet. The ends have been washed more times, brushed more times, slept on more times, styled more times, and exposed to more daily wear. So when we talk about keeping the ends softer longer, we're really talking about the part of the hair that has the hardest job holding on to that conditioned feel. A lightweight leave-in can still be useful. I'm not saying those products do nothing, but a light spray, mist, or very thin cream may feel nice at first and still not leave enough richness behind for the ends. That's why someone can have a good wash day, use conditioner, use a leave-in, and still feel like the bottom few inches need something more. It doesn't always mean the whole routine is wrong. Sometimes it means the ends need more targeted product with more weight, more cushion, and more staying power than the rest of the hair needs. This is the lane that this formula belongs in. It's not trying to be an all-over styling product. It's a rich end care cream for the part of the hair that tends to lose softness first. Where this gets frustrating is when we treat the entire head of hair like it has the same need. That's when people start adding more product everywhere, even though the problem is mostly happening at the ends. The roots can start feeling heavy, the middle can feel coated, and somehow the ends are still the part that does not look as soft as you wanted. That's usually not because the hair needs a mountain of product. It's usually because the product weight is not being placed where it can actually help. A rich cream can be beautiful on dry feeling ends, but it can also go wrong quickly if the formula is too waxy, too stiff, or used like a regular leave-in lotion. That's why this kind of product has to be built with restraint. We want enough structure to make it thick and creamy, but not so much that it feels like rubbing a lotion bar through your hair. We want enough emollient richness to make the ends feel conditioned, but not so much that the hair looks oily or stringy when it dries. And we want enough cling that it stays with the ends, but not a heavy coating that makes the hair feel dirty on day one. This is the difference between a rich formula and an overloaded formula. A rich formula gives the ends what they are missing. An overloaded formula just makes everything feel heavier. This formula is designed to sit in a very specific place. It is richer than a mist, lighter than a balm, and meant to be used in a tiny amount where the ends need it most. That's why the structure matters so much. The stearyl alcohol and glyceryl stearate help build that thick, jar cream body, so the product has substance instead of feeling thin or watery. The mineral oil gives that classic slip and cushion that people associate with this style of cream. The lanolin adds heavier richness and cling, which makes sense here because we're not trying to make a feather light product. And the cholesterol helps reinforce the whole cholesterol cream identity, both in the way the formula is built and in the way the product feels. But the most important part is still how the formula is used. This isn't something that I would rake through every inch of freshly washed hair. This is a small amount product for the mid-lengths and ends, especially when those ends need more softness than a light leave-in can give them. And because this version is meant to be left on, the formula is not copied straight from the old rinse-off cholesterol treatment. It keeps the thick, rich, nostalgic feel, but it's adjusted for the way that I actually want to use it, a little bit on the ends to help that soft, conditioned feel last longer. That's the goal of this formula, not a miracle repair claim, not instant healthy hair in a jar, just a rich, practical, purpose-built cream for softness that stays where the hair usually loses it first. This is where the formula has to match the way that we actually want to use the product, because this cream is going on the ends and staying there. I don't want it thin or watery or gone 5 minutes later, but I also don't want it to feel so heavy that it makes my hair feel coated. So the structure matters, the emollient choices matter, and the application amount definitely matters. As we make it, watch how we build that rich cholesterol cream texture without turning it into a balm. That balance is really the whole point of this formula. Let's start off with phase A, our water phase. This is distilled water, our diluent, and so this is going to give the cream its water base. Even though this finished product is going to be very thick and rich, it's still an emulsion. So we need a proper water phase for the oil phase to emulsify into. Then we're going to add some disodium EDTA. This is our chelator, and its job is to help grab onto trace metals that can come from water or your equipment even, or even your raw materials. It's not here to make the hair feel softer. It's here to support the formula behind the scenes, especially from a stability and preservation standpoint. Now I'm adding in some propylene glycol. This is a humectant and solvent support ingredient. I'm using it at a very low percentage here because I don't want this cream to feel sticky or wet on your hair. This formula is supposed to feel rich and conditioned, not tacky. Give that a good stir, and that's it for our water portion. Set that aside. Okay, let's move on to phase B. Okay, so this is where the body and the richness of the cream really come from. The first ingredient is going to be stearyl alcohol. This is a fatty alcohol, not a drying alcohol. In this formula, it's going to give the cream that thick, structured body, and it's going to help the product scoop like a true jar cream instead of pouring like a lotion. This is starting to boil over here, so I'm going to turn that down till we're ready. Then we're going to add some glyceryl stearate. This is an emulsifier and structuring ingredient. It helps support the emulsion, but it also builds that dense, creamy texture that we want in a cholesterol style hair cream. This is part of what helps the formula feel substantial on the fingers before it even touches your hair. Then we have some mineral oil. This is an emollient, and in this formula, it's going to give that classic old school slip. It helps the cream glide through the ends instead of dragging through them, and it adds that cushioned feel that lightweight leave-ins usually don't have. Next is lanolin. This is an animal-derived emollient, and it brings a heavier, clingier richness to the formula. This is like the main star as far as I'm concerned. Lanolin is one of the reasons this cream feels like something that actually stays with the ends instead of disappearing right away. Um, it just gives that really nice conditioning feel, especially when you're only using a tiny amount when the hair needs it the most. And yes, it does have that classic lanolin smell, which, to be honest with you, is one of the things I really like about that cream that I'm trying to replicate. So next up is going to be stearyl 25. This is a non-ionic emulsifier, and its job is to help hold the rich oil phase together with that water phase so that the finished cream stays uniform. Since we're making this as a leave-in, we're not relying on a lathering surfactant for the structure. This emulsifier helps us keep the cream stable while still making sense for the way that we're going to be using it. And then I'm going to be adding the cholesterol NF. This is a lipid ingredient and it's part of the identity of the formula. I'm not adding a tiny little sprinkle of it just so that we can say that it's a cholesterol cream. It's here at a meaningful level because this product is built around that rich conditioning cholesterol cream concept. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and turn this back up just a little bit, and we're going to put both of our phases into a water bath. All right, we have taken both of these off of our water bath, and we're going to start combining them now. All right, our water phase is good. I've checked the temperature on both. They are within 8 degrees of one another. Give your oil just a little bit of a stir. Make sure everything is incorporated. Everything's melted down. There's no flakes from that cholesterol. We're going to start adding this, and then we're going to use our homogenizer. While we still have a liquidy solution here, I'm going to go ahead and add my colorant just to make sure that that gets blended in all the way. I have some FDC yellow number 6 and FDC yellow number 5 in preserved distilled water. So I'm really trying to mimic the color of the cholesterol cream that I'm trying to replicate. So we're just going to add a couple of drops. Yeah, that's actually perfect. Give it a good stir. We're going to get in here with our homogenizer, and then we're going to put it on our overhead stir and let that continue to cool down before we add our cool down ingredients. All right, and now we're just going to let that go and start cooling down. Okay, let's take our temps. All right, we're at about 104 on average. It's saying 106, but I've done multiple little areas there. So it's okay. We're good to go now with our remaining ingredients in our cool down phase. So you just want to make sure that your batch gets below 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you can start adding your cool down ingredients. So the first one is going to be our preservative. This is Euxyl PE 9D10, and this is made from phenoxyethanol and ethyl hexyl glycerin. So because this formula contains water and is going into a jar, preservation is not optional. This still does not replace proper testing, but it gives the formula a realistic preservation system. And next is caprylyl glycol. This is a preservation booster, and it also brings a little emollient support. I like it in this formula because it fits the preservation direction of this formula without changing the whole feel of the cream. Okay, and lastly, I'm going to be adding our fragrance oil. It's just a very small amount. This is rice flour and shea. The smell of this is going to pair beautifully with this lanolin. This is here just as a little bit of a scent. I chose this because it works with this lanolin rich, creamy direction instead of fighting against it, because you are going to smell that lanolin. So this rice flour and shea pairs beautifully with that. All right, every once in a while, stop it, bring it down, give those sides a scrape. I have nailed the color though. I'm really happy that I nailed that color. It looks exactly like the Queen Helene, which if I have not said that yet, that is the product that I am inspired by to make my own. I have been using Queen Helene cholesterol conditioning cream for decades. And I just thought, you know, it's time to make my own. All right, really give those sides a scrape down. Let me give you guys a little peek at what this cream is looking like. This is not the final viscosity, as we all know, but look at the smoothness. Is that gorgeous or what? Get yourself a homogenizer, you guys. Save up. Your potions are not going to be the same once you start using it. I wish I had known about this decades ago when I first started back in 2002, but better late than never. Listen, I'm still learning. I follow a lot of really, really smart, experienced people in this industry, cosmetic chemists and so forth. And always learning, always learning. All right, we are not done yet with the cool down process. I'm going to go ahead and put that back up on the overhead stirrer. And then all I'm going to do is just leave this overnight like I always do. And I will bring you guys back tomorrow. Let's see how our cream is doing. I let it sit overnight. I did already check the pH. It's coming in around 4.92, which is excellent. Take a look at the cream. All we need to do now is just put it into our jars. With this type of cream, you don't judge the final texture right away. It needs to sit undisturbed overnight so that the structure can fully set. And by the next day, you should have a nice, thick, glossy cholesterol cream that's rich enough for just a little tiny amount to use on the ends of your hair. It's still a cream, but it's not a balm or a wax stick. And it's not something you need to pile onto your whole head of hair. Let's take a look at the actual cholesterol cream that I use from Queen Helene. Let me get a spatula. It's quite a bit thicker, you're going to notice. Their cream is quite a bit thicker than mine, but that's fine. Give it a little stir. So this is the thickness of theirs. See, Queen Helene. It's quite a bit thicker. But I didn't want to push that structure, though, either, and wind up with something that's going to feel waxy. Oops, let's get that off of there so we don't make messes. So there's the difference. Queen Helene, ours. Still very, very thick. It's just not quite as thick as theirs, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I really kind of can't wait to use this in the shower. Today is wash day, and so I will be using this momentarily. All right, let's just get this in the jar. And here's the finished product. The question that I always ask, what did we learn today? Sometimes keeping your ends softer longer isn't about adding more steps to your routine. It's about using the right kind of product in the right place. A cream like this is not meant to replace everything else that you use on your hair. And it's definitely not meant to be slathered from root to tip. It's more of a targeted end care product for those moments when your hair needs a little more richness than a lightweight leave-in conditioner can offer. And that's why formulation matters. When we understand the purpose first, we can build the texture, the weight, and the ingredient choices around that purpose.
For this one, the goal was simple: softness that stays, especially where the hair needs it most. Today was wash day for me, and I used this product for the first time, and I'll let my hair speak for itself. If you found this content helpful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves saving money by making their own hair care products. Thanks for hanging out with me today at Creation Station, and I'll see you in the next formulation.
If you're a YouTube channel member, the written formula and instructions are waiting for you in the description box. If you're not a member, you can also get this formula along with more than 100 others and all future releases by joining my Patreon, or you can pick it up individually in my Etsy shop. All the links are below. Choose what's right for you.